Hello, crafters and artisans, and welcome back to Psychedelic Squid Fiber Arts. This is part 2 for adding a strap and finishing out this particular style of wool comb cover. For materials and supplies, please refer to part 1. I'm going to jump right in. This strap is just shy of 1 inch wide and it's about 8 inches long. I made it longer than it needed to be so I can cut it down to the perfect size. I'm going to start marking out where I want my leather strap to fit across the back and the front. Make sure the pin has erasable ink before you mark up your leather, otherwise those marks will be permanent. I started out with the front exactly where I wanted it and wrapped the strap loosely across the head of the comb. Here on the back, I'm marking where I want the strap to overlap on the cover and where I intend to cut it shorter. Now that I've done that, I'm going to mark where I want the front of the strap to sit on the cover. Although it doesn't show up very well on the video, I'll be cutting the strap along the line I made earlier. Here, I'm lining my strap up across the back just so you can get an idea of how to attach yours. I'm going to round the other end of my strap before I attach it because it'll be easier now than later. First, I'm going to punch holes across the bottom of the strap so I can space them out evenly. You can see the 4 holes that are evenly spaced across the bottom of the strap. Now, to punch holes in the leather cover across the back, I'm going to use the corner of my cutting board inside the cover so that I only go through the first layer of leather. I'm going to line up the strap in its final position so I can use it as a guide for where I need to punch the holes in the cover. After I punch the first set of holes, I switch to the single hole punch so I can add the 4th. Using the other head, I'm just making indentations on the leather so I know where to put the additional holes for stitching. I want the edges of the strap to be sewn down so they don't peel up with use or age. So the cover has 6 holes while the strap only has 4. There's an additional hole on either side of the strap on the cover. Now, I'm going to sew this up like we did the edges in the previous video. I'm going to tie my knot, cut the ends, and melt the thread just like before. Now for the snap fastener. To figure out exactly where to put my fastener, I'm going to put the cover on my wool comb, line up the strap, and then take my awl to punch a hole through both the strap and the cover. When I'm positioning the awl, I'm going to make sure that I'll go in between 2 tines versus hitting one straight on so I don't damage the wool comb. You can slowly push the awl down through the first layer of leather and mark the second layer for our purposes, but I opted to do a quick tap on the awl so that it pushed it through the first layer and partially through the second layer. Make sure that when you do this, you don't go through the back layer of the cover. I'm going to use my leather hole punch to punch a hole for my snap fasteners on both the cover and the strap where I made the holes previously. For the snap fasteners, I find it easiest to pick out all the parts I'll need for the snap and to set them up in the way they'll go on the leather. I decided to go with silver because I like the contrast on the blue. I'm going to need the mini anvil and the flaring tool to set the fastener. I'm going to set the mini anvil inside the cover with the smooth side up. If your kit didn't come with a mini anvil, then you can just use the corner of your cutting board instead. I'm going to set the backing through the hole and the clasp portion on the outside. I'm going to place the point of the flaring tool in the hole of the backing and hammer it down until the front portion of the clasp holds firm and doesn't spin. Now I'm going to repeat the same process using the front half of the snap fastener. Make sure you don't mar the button face of the snap fastener. You can do this by putting it on the mini anvil provided or on a surface that won't scuff it. And we'll use our flaring tool as we did before to flare the metal post out so that it holds the fastener tight. Now, I'm just going to double check to make sure it works. For the rough edges that we stitch together, you'll want to cut off any excess that sticks out. Be careful not to cut into the stitched portion. Once we've done that to both sides, take your skeeving tool and cut the corners of your leather smooth. You'll do this for each side that we stitch together, both on the front and the back. Now that we've prepped the edges for polishing, I like to use this burnishing gum to make the process easier. You can polish every raw edge of the leather, but I'm going to focus on the stitch edges and the strap because the bottom edge is likely to get damaged by the tines of the wool combs during its use. To polish the edges, simply take a small amount of burnishing gum and apply it across the leather edge. Take care not to get it directly on the leather because it can darken the leather. Using the groove on the burnishing tool that is closest in size to the thickness of the leather, run the burnishing tool back and forth over the leather edge. It shouldn't take long to achieve a nice polish if you're using burnishing gum. And there you go, a beautifully finished wool comb cover. You'll have to repeat most of the process for the second cover, but you can reuse your pattern for the second cover. I did my second one as a mirror image of the first because I enjoyed the symmetry. Please leave any questions you have in the comments below. Thank you for exploring the depths of your creativity with me, and I'll see you next time.